Yo, we are back, y'all. We are back. We are back. Everybody, welcome to Meditation and Motivation and Manifestation Podcast. We up in this joint. I am your host, none other than Moses Akhom, y'all. And yo, I got a very, very powerful, real big, very huge surprise for y'all today. Man, I would like to introduce to you now, just quick. I like to give a quick little, little rundown about, all our special guests. But I gotta say, this guest in particular, y'all, is a very special individual, and I have to say because he is like a pinnacle with a lot of children that are, especially that's in the inner city, the Chicago area. Man, he is professional security guard, and he works with your kids, y'all, on a daily basis. He is someone who is a part of their lives regularly. So when you guys are at work, you guys are, taking care of your business throughout the day, this is the gentleman that is holding it down for the shorties, y'all. I would like to give it up for my brother, DNELL. What up, bro?
What up, bro? What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's
What's up,
going
guy? How
on?
you gonna do? Man, I'm sweet. How's
Man, feeling
everything?
good, man. Feeling good, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah.
feeling great, bro. You know what? So I got to tell everybody. First of all, see, I've had the privilege of kind of working with you, I guess, because y'all where my shop is located, the swap market. He actually works at the market where the shop is, and when I got to say, like, it's a lot of people that I see that they they may have a certain type of position in their job in the workplace, but a lot of people don't take it serious. They just about that check. Let me get that check, trying to, let me get to the crib. But I gotta say, bro, you know, the energy and the pride that you take and with what you do, you really make sure you hold your shit down. Like, you make sure everybody's secure, you make sure that everybody feels safe. The second,
Mhm.
like, I be seeing, like, we'll be sitting there talking, and like, I don't want to be peeping nothing, but just like you got like a sixth sense where somebody will walk past or something. It's like you be like, boom, like you just snap. You feel me? And it's like, yo, bro, be in tuned on a whole nother level with it. You feel me? So I have yet to really see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the type of
Yeah.
energy that I see, I'm like, yo, bro, need to be working for the CIA or something. You know what I'm saying? For real.
I mean,
But man, bro,
it's all about being alert. That's all, man. You gotta even though you focus on one thing, but you
yeah,
also gotta be mindful that's everything that's around you. So
exactly.
that's how I kind of like affect that, because like I said, I used to work in the hospital, healthcare, so it taught me a lot to be more self-aware, more alert, and everything else, and never let your guard down. So it
Yeah,
actually put me in a better position of just even just working at the market with you and stuff like that, and other places that I do and stuff like that, just made me more alert of everything that's around me and stuff like that. Because a lot of times you don't want to be just focused on one thing and then something happen. It's just like you driving in your car, you got to drive for everybody else besides yourself. So that's how I look
right.
at it.
Right. Well, let me ask you, bro. What inspires you to to actually become a security guard in the first place? Like I said, you're top tier at what you do. You feel me? Like
I
can't
appreciate
nobody
it.
do what you do at that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what
Um,
inspires you to actually like shift into that gear?
well, for one, because I got military parents, unfortunately, like I said, I was trying to become a law enforcement, but I didn't reach the deadline, obviously, because, you know, I didn't reach the mark because based on the age, the time limit. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and utilize this the best way possible.
Mm,
As far as networking, of course, obviously, um, just making a difference in people's lives, stuff like that. Like, you the first person to see, you the last
yeah,
person to see. So any job was that where I was at the market, where I was at the hospital, wherever place I was at, I wanted to make myself a valuable asset to the company, let everybody know that you're safe and you have no worries, but
right.
also know that I'm gonna make sure everybody's safe. I'm gonna try to be a solution instead of the problem, and try to see if I can calm stuff down for an individual. A lot of times you get erratic people, you get people that are just unsatisfied with
Yeah,
the business or whatever else that you got going on, stuff like that. And sometimes, a lot of times, they don't be about you. But if you add water to the fire, so they pretty much put a lot of things out based on just having a calm conversation with the individual and stuff like that, and try to see where y'all can meet on common ground, even if it's different from each other. So
Right, right. And it's almost like, you have to be a, like, almost, it's like a counselor in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know when you come into
mentor, yeah,
contact with certain individuals, yeah, mentor, counselor, therapist, like top to bottom, that
yeah,
plays that word of mouth is I mean, not word of mouth, but your verbiage and your communication level, it definitely has to be on point, because everything doesn't have to go from 0 to 100 real quick. So I think that's definitely very powerful, that you have the gift of gab. You know what I'm saying? You're able to maybe even diffuse situation, before it can even get there. Maybe you can even stop somebody about to make a poor, very terrible decision, that could
yeah.
possibly get them locked up, or anything, hurt.
Oh, I
But
mean, trust me, I've been in those type of cases where I had to step in and a lot of fire and stuff like that and try to talk somebody down and try to defeat the
yeah.
situation. And a lot of times, almost 95% of the time, it works effectively.
Mm,
And then if not, then you gotta do what you gotta do. You know,
so
'Cause a lot of times
so
some people just ain't worth talking to. Sometimes you gotta hit them with some actions.
right, right, absolutely, is necessary. I
Yeah,
want to ask you this though. So you work with I'm not going to name this the school, but you work with inner city children, teenagers,
right.
throughout the school year.
Mhm.
uh did you like that, the environment though that you're kind of in? I know it can be sometimes chaotic, a lot of little row, a little loud, a little ratchet, but
Mhm.
did you grow up in like a similar environment to what you work in now?
No, not quite.
Really?
Not even far fetched. Not either. When I was coming up, in my younger days, when I was at the time living in Philadelphia and stuff like that, me and my twin brother was going to Northeast High School in Philly, you know.
Okay.
And at the time, like I said, things is way different now, way back then than now, obviously, because you got younger parents, obviously, you got parents who trying to be their friends, stuff like that. You got teenagers, adolescent kids that trying to be grown and stuff like that, and
Right.
they haven't experienced life yet. So they still trying to catch up with us, with the old heads. So
Right.
a lot of time, like I said, based on me just being there my first year run, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't prepared for it like I should have been. But it
Man.
taught me a thing or two. It taught me to humble myself. It taught me to not always bark all the time, but just use my voice and stuff like that, because everything ain't gotta be that. And I think because when you coming from another environment, it allows you to be that
Mhm.
when you have an aggressive person. But when you deal with kids, you got to think that kids, at the end of the day, no matter
Yeah.
how way, no how matter way you slice it or spin anything like that, you just got to learn like that. Just a kid, end of the day, it may work in the sense of in their household, you don't know what goes in their household, you don't know what they parents allow, what they allow them to get away with, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also just try to just be like, look at like, man, I got kids too, so I
Right.
got to kind of calm it down and stuff like that to be able to talk to them one on one. A lot of times they'll listen. It's just all
Right.
about listening, stuff like that. Because if you remove one person out the crowd, they have a different mindset. But if you're around people and stuff like that, around the kids, bad influence, then you're gonna get a
Mm.
bad turnout. So that's why I try to tell, especially the young boys, I try to talk to them as much as I can. And a lot of times they'll come back and say, you was right. You're right, you was right. I appreciate you
Right.
talking and stuff like that. So, kids,
Right.
they want to be heard, they want to be listened to. A lot of times the parents
Right.
ain't paying them no attention. They at work all the time, barely see their
Right.
kid. Where I see their
Right.
kids on a regular basis when they come to school. So those are
Right.
the type of things I'm
Yeah.
talking about, stuff like that. And then you got this other stuff that's going on with the vaping, mysterious drugs, a lot of type of stuff going on, stuff like that. But
Mhm.
we just gotta
Mhm.
remind kids, man, like you can always, it's always a decision. You can make the right decision or you can make the wrong decision. But no, these wrong decisions have consequences. But you make the right decision, you ain't gotta worry about this stuff that's happening. But of course,
Right.
we're gonna go through life, and like I said, I know they have it harder than enough because they still experiencing life. So
Right. Right.
you know
And
what
I
I'm saying.
think
So
that
that's what.
e- even with, like the way how I spoke a little earlier, like how you communicate. You know, it's I can see how they can a teen, a kid, you know, can easily relate to you just based off of, you know, your whole swag, your whole demeanor. You know, it's like they can relate. You know what I'm saying? Especially you being a melanin brother. You feel me? It's like, you know, you know how to approach them, and when you approach them, it's like you know how to meet them at that level. You know what I'm saying? Even if I think it's even necessary, even, you know, if they someone may try to turn up. I know you experience shorties that, you know, try you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
But you
yeah,
even would
they try.
still meet
Yeah.
them. You know what I'm saying? I know some of them. Some could be intimidating. They could try to be. You know, they could try to come off as they're intimidating, but you know, you're gonna always like you match energy perfectly. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
why. So that's definitely what I see from you. And I know honestly, like this, I know it can be draining. You know what I'm saying? I mean, working with, you know, children, I hear from teachers all the time. Yeah, you know, it can be a draining profession working with, you know, teenagers, especially, you know, kids. I mean, in general, they have a ton of energy. You know, this is show is called, you know, meditation to motivation. So I want to ask you, as far as motivating wise, like what motivates you, bro, like to really keep going? Because I know you get drained. I already know. So like what keeps you
Um,
going though, bro?
well, for one, what keeps me going as far as with kids, you got obviously you got to build a relationship with them, right? So
Right.
my thing is like I got kids coming up stuff like that, so I know when my kids get on stuff like that, I would like for somebody to talk to them while I'm at work, because it takes the
Sure.
village, and that's the thing. That's what keeps me going back. It takes the village to raise these kids, get them in the right direction. You know, I just feel like God had put something on me and stuff like that, so I'm gonna be a good asset for that, and just try to do the best that I can to reach these kids and redirect them on the right path and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even if they are lost or they struggling with all like that, I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
put them back on the right path, stuff like that, so they can get to where they need to be at. So that's what
Yeah.
keeps me going, man. Just being positive and saying, what, this is for the kids. We gotta make sure they're safe. We gotta make sure that nobody be doing X, Y, and Z, being in the bathroom, gotta be doing, or being in the hallway, trying to do
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. And then the social media, man, you already know what it is. When it comes to social media,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Right.
deadly. This
Yeah.
social media is very, very definitely poison. It can poison your mind when you're not careful with it. If you're not utilizing it, handling it in the right manner when it
Yeah.
comes to social media.
Yeah, social media is definitely like it's like a brainwashing aspect, you know, because especially I think it can be a combination of, you know, a lot of social media, you know, a lot of music that the shorties are listening to, you know, it's
Hmm.
shifting their whole mind, that the whole thought process in a, you know, it spirals in a negative direction. And it's difficult, especially when they don't have, you know, parents or, you know, people around them that can put them back online on track in the positive direction. It's like, because once they get stuck, you know, they say the first 7 years of a child's life, they're in like that sponge mode, you know, when they're just absorbing, you know. So I can see that a you know, a child that absorbed a lot of trauma, you know, a lot of negativity, you know, from their parents, that, you know,
Hmm.
they become that, you know, or they become like a product of their environment, you know. So I know it's rough, especially because they're so young and they're not taught how to shift their thought process and their minds in the right direction. I know a lot of times they just live in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're just in it. You know what I'm saying? They just moving with the going with the flow. You're like a leaf blown in the wind. And it can
Hmm.
be very difficult when they're so submerged, you know, into like a negative aspect of life, you know, glorifying, you know, like you say, the drugs, the vapes, you know, all, you know, just anything that's gonna take them on a path that has nothing to do with success. You know, like they're in the midst of school. And I know even school is pretty much you're training your brain. You know what I'm saying? They might not be looking to have a career in algebra, you know what I'm saying? But it's a position where their mind is taught to think, you know. But let me ask you, like, when it comes to these to the parents, because I know it's a lot of parents, like I say, they be lost themselves. You know what I'm saying? They lost in the sauce. Like, do you see that? Because I know that when you probably experience, a kid maybe get into a fight, maybe acting up, then the parents got to come up to the school. Like, what's your experience with maybe certain parents that aren't on the right path themselves, though?
My experience been where I had a mother come up, not for indirectly interact with her, but just act in the presence of her walking in the building, stuff like that, raising hell over a cell phone and stuff like that and so forth. And it's a bad look. It's a bad
Yeah,
look. Like I be saying to myself, you wonder why your kid act the way you act, 'cause look how you act. Or I had a
right.
parent that just don't believe in accountability. How can you be accountable for yourself, but you're not teaching your kids how to be accountable? So something is lacking in the home, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Then on
yeah,
top of it, let's go back to the home part. They don't sit down and have a conversation with their kids how to regulate their emotion. So when you don't know how to regulate your emotion, you just spaz out.
yeah,
So I think if you tap into the emotional aspect of it and allow them to express themselves, because you do have some parents that be overdoing it, where they be like, "Well, I'm the parent. You gonna listen to what I say? It's what I say. I don't care about what you say." But they human beings too. They got the right to be heard. Listen, but I would tell the kids all the time, you can talk, but express yourself within reason. As long as you're respectful, hey, I don't care. I don't have no problem with respectfully checking me or respectfully say, man, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that, X, Y, and Z.
right,
And I hope
right.
the parents can come together and realize that and analyze that and marinate that. Say, you know what, I want my child to be heard because you don't want the
Yeah,
street to get a hold of them. Now they listen to them. Now they barely even talking to you. They barely trying to hold a conversation with you because before then, when they was trying to talk to you, you weren't trying to hear it. So now they off
yeah,
in the streets trying to seek some other type of attention because they're not seeking it at
yeah,
home. So that's why I tell people all the time. When you
yeah,
come out the house and stuff like that, and into the school and stuff like that, obviously you're gonna get whatever that comes from the household into the school, and that's a major problem, especially if they're not prepped properly being prepped as far as being in school to try to regulate emotion, how to just like,
yeah,
if somebody says something to you, keep walking. If somebody touch you, then obviously you have the right to defend yourself. But also
yeah,
just learn how to mind your business, stay tuned, stay on point, do what you need to do to graduate and stuff like that. And I get it. I mean, you're
right.
allowed to be a kid. I get all that. You know what I mean? You want to have fun. I get all that. But at the same time, too, don't lose focus on what's what's your purpose and what God got planned for you. And the more important thing, you are the reflection of your parents too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, man, it's like you get a phone call from the school, and it's your kid and stuff like that. You're like, oh, hold on, now I got to take off, or I got to leave work early and stuff like that because my kid acting up and stuff like that. It's a bad reflection. So I tell the kids and the parents all the time whenever your kids start acting up and you're not really checking them thoroughly, letting them know what
Mm-hmm.
time it's like that, it's a bad look on you.
It is. It is. How do you feel about the parents, single parents? Say, like, you got your single moms. They may have a full-time job. They may have to work two jobs. They may
Mhm.
have two, three, four, maybe five kids. And it's difficult for a certain, let's say, a mother to discipline their son. You know, uh, those are who can't really take on that role of being a father figure. Like, how do you feel about that, though?
Um, I feel like this. Unfortunately, some mothers don't have a big village like that. They
Mm-hmm.
probably are the black sheep of the family. They probably
Mm-hmm.
got some other stuff going on with the family, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and why things the way they are and stuff like that, where they out here busting their ass trying to make ends meet for the kids and stuff like that. And they doing what they gotta do to keep a roof over their head because mommy don't work. How the kids gonna eat? How the bills gonna get paid? You know. I say this, man, like in those situations, man, it's very hectic. It's very problematic because now you don't have a male figure inside the household, especially dealing with a teenager child. And now the teenager child trying to figure himself out. how to be a young man and stuff like that. But you got all these bad influence is on his shoulders and stuff like that. Are people around him, peer pressure and stuff like that. I think when things like that happen, stuff like that, and if you first see it and it's an eye opener, I think you need to kind of adjust your schedule as far as work and try to see you can do what you need to do as far as being there for your kids and stuff like that, and try to see what can I do to better prepare my teenager child into a young man so he can be on the right track. And
Right.
sometimes you may have to uh you may have to use boot camp, you may have to use military and stuff like that. You know, those there's other tactics that you can use as far as your kids being on the right path and straighten them out.
Mm,
Um, or they got programs stuff like that. There's other ways around it, but I think a
yeah.
lot of times people get caught up in what this. I'm gonna raise my kid. I'm living my life, and nobody tell me nothing. 'Cause back in the day, you used to do that, but now you can't tell nobody about their kids. So that'd be
Right.
another thing. Now they have to you making them feel like they less of a parent and stuff like that. You checking on how
Mm,
to be a parent, stuff like that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've done that, and then I have been outside the fence of hearing that from other people. You know what I'm talking about? So I just feel like this, like if don't nobody ask you for advice, don't be opinionated. Don't
yeah.
offer your advice
Yeah.
unless you're invited to give your
Right.
advice.
Right.
That's how I look at
Respectful.
it.
Right.
Respectful,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. And
So
you know,
as
one
much
thing, one key. I was gonna say one key thing. I want to cut you off, but one key thing I did want to emphasize is the resources.
mhm,
Like they say, there might be a coach, or there might be a certain individual that's within their reach, whether if it's within the school, or some type of after school program. But I think
mhm,
was super powerful is that being able to talk to an individual such as yourself, being that
mhm,
you are like a resource. So I think that it can be like an eye opener. Individuals who are also maybe a security guard, whatever
mhm,
individual, like whatever their role is in that school
mhm,
system, you're still a melanated brother. You feel me? You're still
I definitely
somebody,
agree.
and I think that
Uh,
if they can identify, like they probably look at you like you're okay, he's just a security guard, but they can't just look at that as in that position, because you're doing more than just securing them. Like I said, you're talking to them, you're being that role model. You're putting a bug in their ear. And I think
mhm,
that whether if you're a single mother, single father, whatever the case may be, you could be a single father. Like I was a single father, and it can be other women that can possibly be, within your reach, that can play a certain role. So I think that being able to just identify those pinnacles that's within your reach, such as yourself, and just so
mhm,
everybody that there's a single mother that's possibly looking at this right now, that's having some type of difficulty and issues with their children, don't just think that, oh, he needs to go to counseling, or there are so many individuals that we've experienced so much through our life that now you can be an individual that could put their child on game and on point, and you can be able to click and identify with them. And I think that's just so dope. You know what I'm saying? That the fact that you're able to even do that, like you take your position in your profession to like a whole nother level with it, and I think that's needed, because again, they might not have that, and it's to me, that's purpose. I look at with everything that you do, and I try to, everybody that I have on this show, I'm always, I'm able to see something within them that they're doing that
mhm,
is divine purpose, something that God needs you to do within your life, whether it's to shift someone's mindset, their spirit, physically, whatever the case may be. You're positioned wherever, exactly where you are, for a reason, so
correct.
I definitely just wanted to put that out there. So let me ask you this, bro. How do you take care of your own mental, your own emotional health, living not living, but working in such an intense environment?
I mean, I take one day at a time. I try to find ways to be able to make it better the next day.
Mm,
Prayers. You
okay.
know, I may have a moment where I might want to see some music, something like that, to soothe me out.
Yeah.
Mellow me out. Um, I may have ability I can go to talk to people and stuff like that about, to lean on and stuff like that. But then a lot of times,
Right.
I mean, as time go on, you see people for what they are. But also, you live in the world by yourself. I mean, you got people around you, obviously, but you wake up to yourself every day. So it's like what I do is just I just try to focus on the positive, man. I just try to say, you know what, I made a messed up. I made a did something incorrectly, but let me see what I can do to correct it the
Right.
next thing. That's how I keep going. And by me just being a single parent myself, man, it's a challenging. It ain't easy. Trust me. Like
Yeah.
I make it look easy, but it ain't easy. So
Yeah.
just like I said, I have a support system even for myself. I have a support system like that, incredible support system, which I appreciate and would not take for granted.
Yeah.
And then just like I said, it's like the same. It's like I said, I look important to kids, man, because I love kids, man, and I want kids to succeed because they are the next generation, and it's like a cycle. It go from my parents, go from us, then our kids. It's the cycle keep going. So you just always want the
Yeah.
next generation to be way better than the last generation was doing, you know. But like I said,
Absolutely.
we just gotta stay prayed up, stay positive, keep reaching the ones that want to be reached, and keep pouring love into them and keep pouring positivity inside of them until they get it. Eventually, it's gonna click. Because a wild
Yeah.
person told me, man, yeah, that you can talk to a person on, you can talk to a person but eventually, it's gonna linger in their brain, and they're gonna remember that last conversation that they had. I mean, he
Yeah.
said something real powerful. He gave me the
Yeah.
gems. He told me, he put me on game. He told me something that's gonna help me my life. I'm gonna give you an example real quick. I remember I used to work downtown at this college campus place, right? And this
Okay.
dude, he was going through a struggle in his life,
Mhm.
based on his sexuality, I should say, right? And so, he was ready to let life go. He was ready to let it go. He just let it all go. And I chopped it up with him, talked to him, stuff like that. And I just told him, just believe in yourself and just talk to your parents, man, and stuff like that to see where that goes. And if you don't feel like it's going in the right direction, you know what I'm saying? You got me to chop it up with stuff like that. I don't look at you anything different, stuff like that. You know, I'm looking as a human being first. So,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
he took all that what I was saying. It's more stuff about obviously I was diving into him with, and he came back and told me like, man, you saved my life. He like, I
Ah,
appreciate you talking to me stuff like that, and that's what got me. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
man, I said the fact that he came back and told me I saved his life, and just that conversation. And it definitely it makes a whole lot of difference. So that's why I said that's why I would always replay it back to me and say, you know what? Since I'm working inside the school, I can be able to use my my positivity and my experience and stuff like that onto the kids stuff like that to educate them and stuff like that and put them on game to get to where they need to be at because
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them improve obviously. So that's all I try to do, man. It's for the kids in the day, man. I don't want no kid to be left behind. I want them to succeed. I want them to do great. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a police officer. Whatever I want to be, I want them to be positive. But I think a lot of times, like I said, music is taking over. These ghetto ratchet behind music taking over, brainwashing our kids and stuff like that, and brainwashing their siblings too on top of that. So they ain't got nobody else to look up to. They don't think they looking up to that rapper, the music and stuff like that and all the social media stuff they're trying to imitate because they're not getting it from home. So I feel like if you disconnect the social media part of it and teach the kids back in the day type of stuff like that and pour into them about life and remove social media, I think they would be able to have a better understanding. But if you got social media and a tablet in front of their face 24/24, what do you think gonna happen?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's always going to
You
be a
know?
distraction, But if I think when I look at it, I just gotta keep it a buck. Is here. And
Mhm.
I don't think it's going nowhere. But I do. What I can say is, even though they do, their mind might be shifted. and distracted. You know, this is people. It's people like you. You know, that's gonna
Mhm.
always put them back on point, though. You know, I mean, you're making a powerful impact, bro, in so many kids' lives. You know, and you're, you know,
I appreciate
what you
that.
what you said about, you know, what the other brother told you. That's what you're doing. You're dropping these seeds. You know, it might be a whole nother year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. You know, that seed that you planted, they gonna is eventually gonna be like, man, y'all, I remember one time, y'all, it was a security guard, or sometime it may be a teacher. You know, like we always had that, like that favorite teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like we in
Yeah,
school,
definitely.
you know,
Yeah,
or it might have been somebody. I've heard stories about the cafeteria lady. You know what I'm saying? That said
mhm,
something to them that made them realize what they were doing was wrong. But bro, what
mhm,
you're doing, fam, is 100% God's divine purpose. Because, bro, it's a lot of shorties that, again, they don't have that. They don't have nothing remotely close to that someone that can give them and instill positive energy in them. You know, and I need you to, like, to, for real, like, I know you know, but I have to express that verbally. You know what I'm saying? That you are,
mhm,
like, for real, bro. You're performing God's purpose.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
mhm.
we don't be knowing what these shorties got going on at the crib, you know?
Don't
What
know at
versus
all,
the
man.
sexual abuse, you know,
Yeah.
verbal abuse, physical abuse, you know, so much that's happening in this dark world. But
Mhm.
man, bro, you shedding light, man. You know, you shedding
I,
divine light, you
I
know,
appreciate
and
that, man. I appreciate that too. I try my best to share something positive with them and stuff like that, man. Because you got all different type of
yeah,
walk of life of kids that come stepping outside of school and they struggling with sexual abuse, they're struggling with drugs, they're
yeah,
struggling with abandonment issues and stuff like that. They struggling with
yeah,
not being good enough. They second guessing themselves, all different type of stuff that they're
yeah,
struggling with stuff like that. And so my job, not just as a security person, but my job because to me, I look at them as kids. You got some people that looking like as friends and buddy. I don't do all that because I'm gonna treat
right,
you like I treat my kids. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let them know I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing. I'm gonna tell you the facts. I'm gonna tell you what you need to know. This what's gonna happen when you get into the real world. You gotta better prepare yourself. Can't be acting the same way you acting up in here and expect no consequences when you get out there. That's not how life works. So I'll definitely be drilling it in to 24. Let them know you need to understand that what comes with that, right? Yeah, I get it. Oh, okay. I hope you can do it because
yeah,
you're gonna remember this last conversation that we had. And lo and
yeah,
behold, when it comes to stuff like that, I few years from now they'll come back and tell me like, hey man, you was right. He's right. I appreciate that. It's all
yeah,
good. I'm glad I was able to redirect you in the right path. So
yeah,
that's all I'm about, man. Just trying to make sure these kids be safe, make sure they be on point,
yeah,
make sure they don't be good, getting caught slipping. That's it, man. And if you got some parents, if the parents is so caught up in themselves, self-absorbed that they watch their hand with their kids and can't be yeah. I didn't say here a lot, but I hear a minority of parents say they done with their kid. I'm done. It's too much. So you basically saying that you give them from your kids, and now you gonna feed them to the wolves, eat shit to the wolves and stuff like that, and then life gonna get them. You know what I'm saying? Then you can't come back crying, something like, "Oh, my baby this, my baby that." Well, that's what you
yeah,
did.
yeah,
So he's trying to find a different way. It's always a solution to each problem. It's always a
yeah,
solution to the problem. You just got to find it. You just got to keep digging until you find the
yeah,
answer to the solution. That's all that is. It's simple,
yeah,
man. Like people make so difficult what it is. Life ain't. I'm gonna tell you this, man. Life ain't supposed to be hard. The life is easy. Everybody get what they want. But
right,
shit, we got to go through struggle. It's always the test of everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. And we walk out this door, it's a test. Somebody testing us. But we got to
yeah,
find a way how to conduct ourselves. End of the day,
yeah, yeah.
can't let
And
nobody see you sweat.
it's like, you know, a lot of people, they, you know, we create our life. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that they accept life for what it is. And when they accept it, it's like you can't trip though. You feel me? It's like at that point,
Yeah.
now you just have to deal with the consequences because you're not trying to change nothing though, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so I look at it like it's again, it's a sad situation, but it's imperative that we, especially as parents, always try to continue to elevate. You know, you said something earlier.
Mhm.
If hey, I might have to change my schedule. You know, with parents that have these difficult, these difficult circumstances, you know, with their jobs or the kids, or
Mhm.
you know, there's so many different
Alternative.
paths, so many different
Yes.
opportunities, exactly, that people can take nowadays. But it's
Mhm.
that people just don't try. You know, it's like they just accept. They become too comfortable. You know, it's like you got to become driven to a point where you're like, yo, I'm not where I want to be, but exactly what I'm doing, my kids, they looking at me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if
Yeah.
I'm not trying to better myself, if I'm not trying to better my situation, I don't care how old the kids are. You know, I don't care how old you are. You should always be trying to level the fuck up, you know,
Yeah.
because the kids
Mhm.
they looking at you, you know. So I
Most
look at it,
definitely.
it's all, man, when they accept that okay, this is what it is, this is what it's gonna be, and they just bite the bullet, you know, bro. It's like, and I get they probably wasn't even raised the right way, you know, but we have to break those chains. We have to break those patterns, because if we don't, we just gonna pass it down, and they're gonna pass it down to their generation, to the next generation, to the next generation. So it's like we gotta just
Most
break
definitely.
that chain, though. You feel me, man?
Mhm.
I look at it, bro, like, again, it's all mental, you know, it's all a mind game, because we don't a lot of parents, they don't understand how the mind works, you know. And I'm very heavy on allowing people to see from their perspective exactly where they are.
Mhm.
Now look at, where do you want to be, you know. We just got to
Mhm.
people got to stop being so comfortable, though. You know, they just accept for whatever their mind thought process is. You know, the type of
Mhm.
music they listening to, the type of people they interact with. You know, they accept it. They not trying to, you know what, this brother over here, or this sister over here, they, you know, they're portraying a certain type of negative energy, and they just choose to, like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay around it, versus saying, now, you know what, let me not be around these certain type of people, because these certain type of people could be affecting me, and that type of energy is affecting my kids, you know. But people just live in it, you know. They be
Mhm.
cool with it. They're just living in that moment, that present moment of filth and negative energy. To me, is trash. You know, it's totally trash. It's it's it's
I,
it's, it's not what's up.
I'm,
And I
I'm with
think
you.
that
I'm with you.
if
I'm with you
anybody's,
100%.
yeah, yeah, man, it's crazy. You know. So again,
I
man,
think the
I think that having these, hmm,
I think not like a job, but I think a lot of times, like I said, people be too complacent. They be, like I said, too comfortable. And I like, you have to, even if you gotta readjust your schedule, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of times you miss on a lot. What happened? You ain't gonna know what your son's favorite color is. You ain't gonna know what your daughter's favorite shoes is. All different types of important stuff as far as like recitals, football games, basketball games, stuff like that. You gonna miss on a whole lot. Shit, they friends gonna be more. They're gonna be more involved with them than you is because you putting your
yeah,
job first over your kids. And so when I say this, man, I mean it's wholeheartedly. With me personally, man, I try to adjust my work schedule for my kids because I can be around. Never want to be that type of parent that overly work and got less to give to my kids. Hey,
right,
sometimes you gotta make certain sacrifice. People don't want to make sacrifice these days. They want to be caught up in themselves. Oh well, I gotta make this money. I gotta get out here and X, Y, Z. Okay, that's good making money, but while you making that money, they're gonna be missing out. You're gonna be missing out on important things in life with your kids and stuff like that. Now you dealing with abandonment issues and resentment issues and stuff like that. They're gonna have towards you, all because you chose to more be more at your job than with them. You know, so of course it's gonna allow them to go seek love in the streets because they're not getting it at home. And then you
yeah,
just got some messed up parents mentally because they
yeah,
unchemically unbalanced and stuff like that. They ain't right in their head, you know? So that'd be another thing too. So it's like, man, so I don't care if grandma raising them, I don't care if auntie raising them, I don't care if uncle raising them. You want to set the kids up with a good life and not to the failure or not be put up in a bad situation. But unfortunately, we don't know what goes on in the household, unfortunately, because things be happening inside the household that we don't know, that we're unaware of, stuff like that. But the kids I can reach, I try to put them on the right path. The kids I can't reach, I let God deal with it, So that's how I look at
Yeah.
it.
Man, bro, I just want to thank you, fam, for for everything that you're doing, bro. Everything
I
that
appreciate you
you're
having me, bro.
instilling, and everything you're instilling, man, in these kids, their minds, bro, is like is purpose, man. So again, bro, like I think these type of conversations do need to be had more regularly. So I definitely want to
Mhm.
thank you, bro, for coming on, man, and dropping these gems, dropping that knowledge, man, because you're a very wise brother, man. And I think
Thank you,
that
man. I appreciate you having me, bro.
if yeah, much love, bro. And man, if y'all got us, man, pay attention to the people that's within your reach, man, because just like everything you just heard this brother say, everything that you hear he's doing, there's other people that's capable of doing that, So y'all just don't give up.
Mhm.
If y'all feel like you're in a situation where you feel like there's, your back is against the wall, you got to just keep looking, keep trying, keep growing, keep elevating, y'all. Man, bro, thank you so much again, fam, for joining us, bro, for the Meditation and Motivation Manifestation Podcast, bro. And y'all,
Mhm.
we are about to make sure you like, subscribe, y'all. Make sure you share because we are growing. So everybody, I appreciate y'all. We are about to get up out of here. Much love to my brother DNELL.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, bro. Y'all,
Thanks for
y'all.
having me,
That's it,
bro.
y'all. Meditation, motivation, y'all. All love.